Hello, I'm Bill Hart, and welcome to the Lanky Beach Show. We've got a great big show for you tonight. 1 hour of absolute buzzing stuff, as they might say around here. Autumn's kicked in, the leaves are falling on the ground. My mother used to say, nights are rolling in, closing in, these nights, aren't they? Aye. Shut curtains and put big light on. Okay, let's rock and roll!
Just like I want them to, yeah. If I could have the other half of you, yeah. You know I would, yeah. If I only could, and it's alright, all or nothing, yeah, yeah. All or nothing, hear my child say.
That was the Hunters, not the Small Faces. The Hunters are from Warrington, and they graced Lanky Cats several times. Went to the Cavern this summer and played, and all of a sudden, sadly, they are no more. They've been around since the 60s, and as you can tell with the quality of that particular track, absolutely excellent band, great musicians, and great people. It's so sad when this kind of thing happens, but, well, it's all about getting older, and that's what we're here all about. We're trying to revive all these particular memories. We're putting Lancashire on the rock and roll map with the Lanky Beat Show, with Lanky Cats, and also we're putting Lancashire on the world map. And we did it back in 1965 with a film called Gonks Go Beat. And tonight I've got with me Doug Larbey. Now, Doug, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He was sat in a chair one day in the office of a Wigan musical agency called LE Agency. Now then, the words were being bandied around the office, and next thing, Doug had a little story to tell, and that is the point. We're going to bring Doug in, but not before we do this next track, which I hope you're going to kind of enjoy. Listen to this one. It's a track by a little duo called Hart Carney.
Here I stand with a suitcase in my hand, in my hand. There you sit with a big grin on your face. Took you all your time to understand, understand. Soon you'll laugh on the other side of your face. Look out when the wind blows. Look out, I can see it coming. You better get your head down before it comes. Look out when the wind blows. Look out, I can see it coming. And I won't turn round to see if you have gone. Da-ba-da-da. There's a ball and chain that I can't see, I can't see. And the big dark cloud that's hanging over me. Take the ball and chain and set me free, set me free. And those dark clouds won't be anywhere near me. Look out when the wind blows. Look out, I can see it coming. You better get your head down before it comes. Look out when the wind blows. Stand back, I can see it coming. And I won't turn round to see if you have gone. Da-ba-da-da. Da-ba-da-da, da-ba-da-da, da-da-da, da-ba-da-da. Da-ba-da-da, da-ba-da-da, da-da-da, da-ba-da-da. Da-ba-da-da. Da-ba-da-da,
Do-da-da-da. That's me and Jack. Me and Jack in the studio. Hart Carney, Jack Carney and Bill Hart. We put that particular CD called down about 2-3 years ago, and we're still playing it. And what I want to tell you about mainly is our new CD called Uh-Oh. That's what we're calling our new CD. The last one was Ta-Da, and this one is going to be Uh-Oh, and that means we've been putting some tracks together. Now, this is where I'm going to need some help. We've decided to put a track down called Light from Darkness. Now then, it's a kind of a world song. And, Bob Geldof did Do They Know It's Christmas, and, all that. I made a lot of money for charity and for the starving people of Ethiopia and all that. Well, it's along those lines, not quite the same. But Light from Darkness is, as you would imagine that kind of title means. It's a kind of a movement of oneself, self-empowerment. The light is self-empowerment. In your life, you move from one place to another personally, and they call it personal growth. And it kind of it happens kind of inevitably, and it kind of just sometimes you can't ignore it. Sometimes you might seek this self-empowerment, and you get self-empowerment by acquiring knowledge and experience, and that's what Light from Darkness is all about. It's about a journey, a life journey, because I believe life is a series of lessons, and you need to learn a particular lesson at one particular stage in time to move on to the next lesson, and on to the next lesson, and so on and so on. Now then, the purpose of that lesson is to become a better person. It all sounds very spiritual and evangelical even, but that's what I believe that life is really all about learning. And Light from Darkness is actually a phrase that I chose in English from the Latin lux ex tenebrae. And lux ex tenebrae is Latin for light from darkness. Now, where did I get lux ex tenebris from? Well, it came from a college just down the road here. They call it Wigan and Lee College now, but back then in the 60s, it was Wigan and District Mining and Technical College, mainly based in Library Street, and some of it now in Parsons Walk, a more modern bit. And that particular college is where I started work. I didn't only go as a student, I actually worked in the college as an apprentice in the maintenance department. I was a plumber, and that's where I served my time, in their maintenance department. And because I was there, I knew these little bits and pieces that Wigan and District Mining and Technical College, lux ex tenebris, in Latin, meant light from darkness. And I've always liked the phrase. I think it's a great little phrase, and I've composed a song around it. Now then, where do you come in? I want, if I can, I want some sound clips. Flick your phone, get your smartphone out, press the record button and say to me in a foreign language, you'll have to know a foreign language and be able to do it, light from darkness in that language. So if you know French, say it in French. Just like I said it in Latin, lux ex tenebris, you'll say it in, say, French or Portuguese or Swahili or Latin, not Latin, but you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And I want you then for you to send that sound clip on to me at bill@lankybeat.com, and I will put you on the track on our new CD called Uh-Oh. How's about that? That's the deal. Now then, if you don't know a language, a foreign language, maybe you know somebody who does. And that's way you can spread the word for me. So I hope I've made that kind of clear. Did it sound all right, that, Diane? I mean, it sound all right?
Sounds fine to me.
All right. Then. So we all understand what I'm looking for. That sound clip, send it to me. And don't forget, Lanky Beat is spelt with a K. www.lankybeat.com. That bill@lankybeat.com. Okay, I've prattled on enough. Doug is itching to get going here behind me, but with another track to play, and we'll just get on with it and listen to a little bit more rock and roll.
Long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. I've seen that road before. It always leads me here. Lead me to your door. The wild and windy night, let the rain wash the wind, has left a pool of tears. Why leave me standing here? Let me know the way. track, but still they lead me back to the long, winding road. You left me standing here a long, long time ago. Don't leave me waiting here. Lead me to Gonks. But still they lead me back to the long and winding road. You left me standing here a long, long time ago. Don't leave me waiting here. Lead me to Gonks, the long and winding road. Yeah.
That nearly brought tears to my eyes. That's Chimbo's revival. Chimbo and his revival band are from Denmark. And I've known Chimbo now a couple of years. He was in the studio with Diane. We actually did a little show with him, didn't you, Diane? I remember that very well. It went very well indeed. So I've not actually interviewed him, but I know Diane has. And he keeps putting these CDs out with tracks like that on. And I tell you, they're absolutely superb, aren't they? And what I like about him is that he comes over here. He played at the Cavern for Lanky Cats, played at Lanky Cats the week before, and he just storms the place. He with his band, absolutely excellent. They're well known in Denmark and in Scandinavia by and large as TV stars, and it would be nice if they could do some kind of breakthrough over here like that. I think there's plenty of room for programs where, you know, bands like Chimbo's revival and quite a few of the Lanky Cats bands as well, we could make an absolutely cracking program, couldn't we, when you think of a TV program with the quality and quantity of bands that we've got coming over to Lanky Cats. And that's my kind of, I suppose, plea to anybody who might be listening. And when I say listening, I mean worldwide now. Worldwide, we are on the World Wide Web and we are streamed all over the place. I know I've got a listener in Australia. I'm going to say hello to Jill, and thank you for listening, Jill. I know you've had to get up very early in the morning. It should be somewhere around about 3 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock, 3:15, something like that. You've had to get up early for it. I hope you did get up early for it. If not, you can catch this program on the website that I've got called New Line, and New Line will be the new home of the Lanky Beat Show, because we're recording every show and putting them on a website, and then you can tune in anytime you want. And so for listeners overseas and over abroad and in the hospital wards, we are now here for you, all over shop, as they might say in Wigan, where I come from. So that is the little advert. Oh, and say hello to America. And in America, I've got Dave Lillinger, and his band, the Sixth Generation. They were over here 2 years ago, hoping to come back next year. And say hello to Dave and people all from the band over there. Okay, and Ron Hamrick. I'm struggling to find his name. Ron Hamrick as well. Hi, Ron. So I didn't forget your name. It's just that I've got so much to think about in this new show, and I'm only a novice, you know. I'm only a novice, and but I am trying my best. Okay, let's move on. Another little track, and then we'll get into what Doug has to tell us about Gonks Go Beat. You're listening to Neil Smith and his classical guitar. Neil comes into Lanky Cats, and he was in a band in the 60s from Horwich near Bolton. And the band he was in was Mike Hurst and the Huntsman, and he was lead guitarist. And that's the kind of guitar playing he's been making money at. He's a professional guitarist, and I've got his credits here. Who's actually played? He's played for Elizabeth Taylor, Geraldine Chaplin, the Red Army, Mr. Blair, a certain Mr. Blair, and a certain Mr. Clinton, presidents and prime ministers. And finally, his last credit is the Queen Mother's 100th birthday. That is a bit of a wow factor, I think. And that's Neil Smith. And he's a Lanky Cat. And I've asked him, would he do 10, 15 minutes for us at Lanky Cats? And he's so shy, it's not true. I'll get him to do it, but sometime, and I think he will. But I thought he'd just like to know that this is the kind of thing that the Lanky Cats and Lanky Beat are attracting. And I think I've just enjoyed sharing it with you. Okay, so there's a little bit of an indulgement there. But anyway, I know Doug's chomping at the bit. Doug,
Hello.
good evening to you.
And to you too. And to everybody else.
Now then, remind me what we're here to talk about.
We're here because 50 years ago, a film was released called Gonks Go Beat. It featured groups, among national names, groups from the Wigan and Lancashire area. Are we here to talk about a great film? No.
Why's that, Doug?
It was and has become known as possibly one of the worst films ever made. It's so bad, it's become a cult film.
It's of the genre once described, I think it was Wikipedia who described it, it's the kind of film that's so bad, it's good.
Exactly that. It is amazing how sort of it has become a cult, because believe me, great fun though it was to make, it wasn't good, and there were a lot of great people involved in it.
Like who? Who was in it?
Well, on the comedy, it was a mixture of comedy actors and comedians and groups. On the comedy side, the star of the film was Kenneth Connor.
Yeah.
Carry On films.
Carry On.
Many, many other
Yeah.
things. Hello.
Household name.
You name them. By the way, lovely man. Absolutely lovely man to work with.
Yeah.
Terry Scott.
Yep. Of Terry and June.
Terry and June and other things. Can I tell you? An extremely funny man.
Yeah.
Absolutely corpsed the studio on so many times. Very, very funny man. Arthur Mullard.
Yep.
Okay.
All comedy. Comedy, yeah.
A gentleman called Jerry Desmond, who I'm sure if the people listening are old enough, they might remember.
Right.
But he was well known on television.
Yeah.
So, group-wise, nationally, Lulu and the Lovers.
Yep.
The Graham Bond organisation, not such a well-known band, but with some very, very well-known personnel. Graham Bond was the organist. Dick Hextall Smith was a saxophonist. The bass player was Jack Bruce, and the drummer was Ginger Baker, both of whom later went on to join with Eric Clapton and become Cream,
Yep.
who are described as a supergroup. I can't say I'm very comfortable with the word supergroup. You're either a group or you're not a group.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Sure.
In many cases,
I know.
the Nashville Teens, who had hits,
Tobacco Road.
and Google Eye.
Yeah, Google Eye.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember it now.
Both of them written, strangely enough, by a folk country singer from America called John D. Loudermilk.
Right.
And they just put their own spin on them and became hits.
Right, yeah.
Right, now let's talk about the local bands. The main band from locally at the time, who were doing big things, was a group called The Long and the Short. This wasn't referring to their height, it was referring to the length of their hair. Some of them had short hair, and some of them had long hair. It was the 60s, we were looking for a gimmick. It also involved a group called the Vaqueros, who were an excellent group, based in Merseyside, but played an awful lot in the Wigan scene. A group called Ray Lewis and the Trekkers, who were a Preston-based band, but once again played all over and an awful lot in Wigan. And the Trolls, who were definitely a Wigan band. All these bands were featured in this not very good film.
I know.
But, let's not knock it.
Yeah,
Let's not knock
yeah.
it. From the point of view of the bands, it was great fun.
Yeah.
Let's tell you how good the story was. Think of Romeo and Juliet. Juliet is not from a family. She lives on an island called Ballad Isle. Romeo, the guy in the story, lives in Beatland. And they fight musically. Imagine that. Difficult, isn't it? It was on film as well. And that is basically it. And eventually they all come together through one thing or another and decide to make a beat ballad, and they all live happily ever after.
Yeah.
So that's it. But from the guy's point of view, from the local group's point of view, first of all, can I tell you, they were so well received in London. This was made in Shepperton Studios. It was filmed in the same studio that the Guns of Navarone was filmed in. It's a major studio. In the studio next door, we had Kim Novak filming The Amorous Adventures of Moll Flanders. Harry H. Corbett was filming The Bargee. We're talking a major studio.
Yeah.
And some major players involved in it. The producer had been cameraman in Lawrence of Arabia and Out of Africa, Bridge on the River Kwai. The assistant director also, Dave Tringham. And the main thing was that these people who we'd never met before actually really, really liked the guys. We used to walk on set every morning, and Dave Tringham, the assistant director, threw a megaphone, which we thought was great, because I never realised. We always thought it was just for films that they use megaphones, but they actually use them on set as well. And every morning he would turn round as we walked in and say, in his best Lancashire voice, although he was from down south, well, he was French by descent, but lived in down south, he would say, "Good morning, Doug, and lads from up north." And they just made us feel so welcome.
Yeah.
So, and if there was a break in the filming, the lads would just sit down on the set, which was set out as a desert island, and would play some music.
Yeah,
and they loved it.
Just to entertain themselves between kind of filming.
Well, entertain the cast and crew.
And the cast and crew.
Oh, the crew loved it. The crew loved it.
I mean, it sounds an amazing experience. What would you give to do something like that? I mean, yeah. But what intrigues me most, and I'm going to rewind you right back to this beginning where you were in a little office in Hindley
Yeah.
called Ellie Agency.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're talking about a film being made in London.
Yes, this guy called Robert Hartford Davis, who was the director of the film, came up. And to be honest, I think his idea was that they'd sort of had the Beatles and other groups from Merseyside, and he thought, there must be some other groups up there, but maybe Liverpool's been done to death. We'll look somewhere else. I know. We'll go to Wigan. And that's what he did.
He couldn't have gone to a better place.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, let's be honest, you know. And basically, the long and the short were his focus, and the other groups were brought on board.
Yeah, I know. And what's amazing is that they were putting the Lancastrian bands on the world map well before Lanky Beat was even thought about, and that's what Lanky Beat has come come to be known as. They're putting, in other words, finding our niche, in the world family of rock and roll.
Yeah,
and, that's what we're doing. So this phone call or communication came to your agency, Doug.
Yeah,
and what then?
Well, we arranged the meeting, took him to see the groups, and basically
he came north.
Oh yes, he came up in his Rolls Royce. Oh yes, indeed.
That would have stopped the traffic.
Yeah, a little bit at that time. In 1964 was when it was all put together.
Yeah.
And he came up in his Rolls Royce, as one does, and and it was great. I mean, it was great fun. We knew it wasn't the best film in the world, even when we were making it. But did we care? No.
Not at all.
In one of the scenes in the film, all the bands get to, including myself, may I say, get to ride in sports cars. We rode in a Chevrolet Impala, convertible. Amazing, and we filmed a scene in these cars. Originally...
About a dozen cars altogether.
Yeah, originally to be filmed at Camber Sands, but the wind blew, the rain came down, and we had a lot of problems. And eventually, not so glamorous location, we finished it on a very wet Blackbush Airport.
Right.
But there you go. The film had to be finished.
I take it was deserted and there were no planes landing.
No, it was a deserted one. It
Right.
certainly was when we got there.
Yeah, right. And that I've seen that bit of the film, and it's pretty. It reminds me of. I think they pinched it. I think the film called with John Travolta in it, with You're the One That I Want, where they have a car race down a kind of a concrete ditch.
Oh, excuse me, that was later.
I know it was later. So I think they
pinched it off us. Oh, I see
you.
what you mean.
That's what I
right.
mean. They pinched that idea off.
Well,
you.
I can understand that. I mean,
And the film was called Grease. Thank you, Diane. The film was called Grease. The memory will fade.
Your memory certainly is fading.
So there you are.
Can I tell you just a point? Let's go back to that scene, because originally it was filmed in Camber Sands, and I had nothing to do. I was there just to look after the groups and make sure they got to the studio on time and were there for the calls and everything. And the producer, Peter Newbrook, super guy, really nice guy, came and said, "Are you here tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I'm here tomorrow." He said, "Would you like to be in the film?" And I thought, yeah. And he said the magic words, "I'll pay you."
Oh, right. Well, I mean, you weren't a musician, though, were you, Doug?
Oh, no. I can't play a note.
Oh, right. So what did he actually do then?
Well, I played saxophone, of course. As one does. The next day. You might guess I was miming.
Yeah.
But I realised when I got there why I'd been brought in. Because when they'd filmed at Camber Sands, they had a drum platform on the back of this Chevrolet Impala. And Johnny Kearns, who was from the Vaqueros, playing the drums, great drummer, fell off. Fortunately, he landed in the sand and didn't hurt anything. So when we filmed it on Blackbush Airport, which of course is tarmac, they had to have some form of health and safety. So he sat on the platform in the back, he put his foot on the headrest of the seat in front, and I sat on his wet shoe to keep him on so he wouldn't fall off. So I was health and safety.
Yeah, and
that was it.
He was actually had his drums on the
Yeah,
car.
he played the drums on the back of the car, and the
car.
only thing that stopped him falling off was me pretending to play saxophone, sitting on a very wet shoe.
Oh, right, I see.
It's glamorous, isn't it?
And you got paid for that?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, Peter Newbrook not only said the magic words, "I'll pay you," but he paid me more for every day I did than I earned in a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was well chuffed.
Yeah. And what about the royalties, Doug? Do you get does the royalties roll in from the film?
There's a short answer to that. It begins with N and ends in O.
Lovely. That's great. That's great. That's it. So that's just a little taste. We've got a few minutes. We've got plenty of time left to get stuck in with a little bit more of these anecdotes. I'm loving it. And well, we'll see you in a little bit. A couple of minutes time.
I got a woman mean as she can be. I got a woman mean as she can be. Sometimes I think she's almost mean as me. She got ruby lips, she got shapely hips. Oh, how she makes this old boy flip. Well, I got a woman mean as she can be. Sometimes I think she's almost mean as me. Well, I ain't bragging, it's understood. Everything I do, well, I sure do it good. Well, I got a woman mean as she can be. Sometimes I think she's almost mean as me. Fright, cause they saw my woman last night. Well, I got a woman mean as she can be. Sometimes I think she's almost mean as me. Oh yeah. Mean, a woman blues. I mean, a woman blues. I mean, a woman blues. I mean, a woman blues. Sometimes I think she's almost mean as me. Yeah, shake it. I got a woman, he's got a woman. 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 Sometimes I think she's almost mean as me. Let's shake it. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. Come on over. Whole lot of shaking going on, let's rock it. I got a woman mean as she can be. Well, I got a woman mean as she can be. Sometimes I think she's almost as mean as me. Mean Woman Blues.
Oh, indeed. The Top Spots. A very, very popular band. The bass guitarist, who his name is Kel Harrison, he lives in Sheffield and he comes all the way across the Derbyshire Hills, Snake Pass, once a month to play with the Top Spots. They're every third Thursday of the month. And you'll find the Top Spots there doing their business, and superb little band that they are. Now back to you, Doug, and this business of Gonks Go Beat. It's fascinating stuff. I saw the film.
You are very brave.
In Wigan in 1965, and I sat at what seemed to be like the gods. It was in the Princess Cinema.
Yep.
And I took with me a girlfriend.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember her name, but
oh, Bill.
And I sat down, and of course, everything happened, and Pearl and Dean, da 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 da, you know, that kind of.
Yeah.
And the ice cream woman then came out, and then the lights went up. And then
Orange Maid.
It seemed to take Orange Maid. Kiora. What about that one? Yeah, Kiora. What else was there? And anyway, they did all that, and then they put the cartoon on, and then you know, we had all kind of adverts, and then ba 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 ba, and then the credits began to roll, didn't it? Now, it's a shame we have got the LP here of the soundtrack of the film. It's on a vinyl LP, popular vinyl LPs now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Aren't
very
they?
much
Wow,
so.
I know.
And that-
Diane's face lit up then. It lit up like a beacon when you said vinyl, the word vinyl.
Yeah.
Blimey, you know, what is it about vinyl, Diane?
Something physically in your hand.
I know.
It sounds better. It's warmer.
Yeah.
CDs are so cold, and
Yeah.
MP3s are compressed like mad, and vinyl. If a record jumps, you just pick it up and move it on. You can't do that with CDs and digital things, can you? Put a penny on it.
I put a penny on it. I
Yeah.
love that.
You can't go wrong.
Well, I'll tell you what, Di. I've got the album of Gonks Go Beat.
Yeah.
You know, and you could put a bid in for it, because believe it or not, rubbish though the film was, the album sells something like £80 to £100.
Yeah.
I've not got
Seriously.
£800
So,
pounds. to spend on
eBayers.
that.
Yeah.
eBayers, get there and get it in. It's a cult. Now, it's a cult collector's item. And in 2007, the film was transferred to DVD. And the reason it was transferred to DVD, so I'm told, is because of its increasing popularity. Now, I read one comment about it, about someone who'd seen the film, and he recommended that anybody seeing this film get themselves a big bottle of wine, yeah, get stuck into it before you start the film. And halfway through the bottle, start the film. And then see if you can finish the bottle before the end of the film. And he said, and by the time you finish the bottle, you'll be as crazy as the the film you've
We're
just seen.
supposed to.
How about that?
We're supposed to talk about safe drinking here.
I know. But I think I gathered his drift. I think he used wine instead of perhaps, I don't know.
I think
I mean,
I'd be
but
happy
me-
with water.
My mind's running riot.
I'd be happy with water.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
Or a cup of tea.
Oh, cup
So,
of tea.
so we would love to have played you a few tracks from it, but that gives you all the more incentive to go out and buy this CD. It is definitely
DVD.
worth the money. I bought it recently for about £6 off Amazon or something like that.
£6?
£6.
That was a bargain.
Absolute bargain.
Well, the thing is, we've got a record player here, but with all the upgrades, we've had to disconnect it. We've not reconnected yet, but we
Yeah.
are doing, because as long as I'm here, there's going to be vinyl in the studio.
Yeah. I'm so pleased to hear that, Diane. Yeah, it's
But,
fantastic.
no, vinyl is safe. It's here. We still have all our vinyl and everything, so
Yeah.
we will be
Yeah.
playing vinyl probably in the next 4 or 5 weeks.
So what can we do? I said to myself, what can we do? I've arrived at the studio this evening and found out we can't play this lovely LP, which has got 8 drummers all playing the same drum solo on the cover of it, which, as a drummer, I just found the scene in the film particularly absorbing.
Yeah, musically very creditable, actually.
It
There's some
is.
of the top drummers.
Ginger Baker, Johnny Kearns,
Yeah. Andy White.
yeah, Andy White. Just in case you didn't know, when Ringo fell sick, yeah, and the Beatles had to tour in Australia, guess who they got in? A guy called Andy White.
Yeah,
That's his
session
claim to
drummer,
fame.
great guy.
That's the claim to fame. So there you go. So, Doug,
Yeah.
what about the music then?
Right, well, let's just quickly go through the music. The Graham Bond organisation are the first ones on, and they play a blues track. And while the Graham Bond organisation didn't break any pots, he was like an Alexis Corner.
Alexis Corner,
You know, that sort
that's
of thing.
it.
He was on the blues side of
Yeah,
things, you
he-
know.
yeah.
And John Lord from Deep Purple said he taught him hands-on everything he knew about Hammond organ.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's so it was a very creditable group. And sadly, they broke up in 1967, apparently because Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker kept falling out, and yet they finished up with Eric Clapton in Cream. But that is the way, that's the story behind it.
I think falling out when you're in a band is a kind of standard
do.
practice, isn't it?
Well, yeah, being in a band is like being married.
Yeah.
It is. There's no doubt about that. And it doesn't always work.
I know.
Right, let's just talk the long and the short.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the title song is sung by Lulu. It's called Chalk Ice.
Yeah.
Incidentally, the harmonica on that played by none other than Marty Wilde,
Goodness me.
who later, of course, wrote a song for Lulu.
Yes.
I'm a Tiger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But later on, the long and the short actually recorded Chalk Ice and made the charts with it. They got to number 40 in the charts with it.
Fantastic.
But in the film, they sing a song called Love is a Funny Thing. I can't argue with that. Their biggest hit was a song called The Letter, which is a good record.
Yeah.
Which got
I'm
to
riding this ladder.
Oh, my God. Bill Hart breaks into song.
Oh, shut me up.
We'll apologise to all those of a nervous disposition.
Where's the gaffer tape gone?
It reached number 35 and stayed in the charts for 5 weeks. Lulu, of course, is still going strong. She sings a song called The Only One. And then, of course, we've mentioned the Nashville Teens. So there was quite a lot of credible people in this film.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the actual production team, from a film that wasn't very good, all of whom have been associated with a lot of very, very creditable things.
Yeah.
The musical director was a guy called Mike Leander. And Mike Leander went on to work with the Rolling Stones, Cliff Richard, Billy Fury, Marianne Faithfull, Mark Bolan, Small Faces, Joe Cocker, Van Morrison, Shirley Bassey, Lulu, Jimmy Page, Gene Pitney, Roy Orbison.
Is that all?
Yeah, he had a number one in America with Under the Boardwalk with the Drifters.
Yeah.
He wrote Lady Godiva for Peter and Gordon, I've Been a Bad Bad Boy in High Time for Paul Jones. He was the executive producer on the album of Jesus Christ Superstar and the producer of the album Godspell. But he always said his biggest claim to fame was the arrangement of She's Coming Home on the Beatles album.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there, well, we call this film, that's a pedigree of great credit to Mike Leander.
Who else then?
Talk about the assistant director, who you might think he's not, but he works very hard. I mean, we found this out, and he'd been associated with so many films, quite up to the beginning of the noughties.
What was his name?
His name was Dave Tringham. He was the guy who used to welcome us on the set every morning through that megaphone. And just to mention a couple of the things, the many, many films he's been associated with. Musically, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
Okay. Highlander. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Kevin Costner, of course. The Mummy, which is never off television these days, is it? And loads more. So, I mean, great pedigree. And the producer, Peter Newbrook, what can I say? This guy was, so well known and so well respected within the film business. Yeah. Firstly, can I tell you, he was a lovely guy. He actually gave me a piece of film one day. He said, "Here, Doug, I've rescued you off the cutting room floor. And I have an actual piece of the film, which is a close-up of me pretending to play saxophone, folks. But it's on the actual film." And he took the time and the trouble to pick that piece of film up and say, "Thank you very much." That's the sort of guy.
Yeah. What was his main credits then?
Gonks
wasn't his brightest idea.
No.
But what did he actually do besides that?
He worked a lot with one of the legendary film producers, David Lean. He did Ryan's Daughter. He did Lawrence of Arabia. He did Out of Africa. Bridge on the River Kwai. For those of you who remember Lawrence of Arabia, the entrance of Omar Sharif, all the ladies are going hot and cold now as I speak, when he appeared out of a dust storm miles and miles and miles away in the desert, and this little dot got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the man who filmed that iconic scene was Peter Newbrook.
This film.
And the dust storm, incidentally, was caused by two Land Rovers driving in circles behind him.
Right, yeah, to kick up a little bit of dust.
Yeah.
That's how they did
There
it.
you go. None of your CGI, this is real filming, folks. But Peter Newbrook was president of the Film Cinematograph Society for 2 years. He was, and is, held in great respect.
Yeah.
Sadly, no longer with us, but he is fondly remembered by a lot of people within the business.
Yeah.
And can I tell you, he was a really good guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I understand from Mr. Hart here
Yeah.
that we have been contacted by Ed.
Can I
Newbrook.
tell you your story about this?
Yeah, go on.
I'm kind of sat at home wondering, is there something that Lanky Cats can do? This is like February, March this year. Is there something Lanky Cats can do? We've got the 100 coming up. What else can we do? We're going to the Cavern in July, which was a wow again. There was a certain young lady who compared the Cavern show, who sat at the side of me. I see. Mega talented she is. She compared the show together with Dave Cavey. Thank you so much for a great afternoon, Diane. It was superb. And we had 7 bands on. Made a lot of money for charity. Anyway, I digress.
As always.
I get an email from a guy who have not a clue. Of course, I get lots of emails, but some I know, some I don't. Anyway, this guy said, I've been looking at your website, Bill, lankybeat.com, and I noticed the long and the short here on there, and I've got some fond memories of them. And the fond memories are that I was on the set as a 12-year-old boy on Gonks Go Beat. So I'm saying to myself, I've already had this idea, and here's an email out the blue. What's going on here? Is some kind of divine intervention coming in to play here, or what? So anyway, off I go then to Lanky Cats, a Lanky Cats night, and I speak to Doug. Doug is our resident compere, and I said to Doug, I've had a word from this guy who said he was on the set and remembers you and Bob McKinley and several others, Bob Taylor, from the long and the short, but not so much about the other bands. And Doug's face is like getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And I thought, he knows who I'm talking about. He said, Ed Newbrook. Ed Newbrook is the son of Peter Newbrook, who we've just been described, haven't we?
Yep, that's him.
So emails have been flying backwards and forwards between the three of us since then.
Yes, I've
And it
emailed
kind
them.
of cemented the idea in my head. Doug said, yes, let's go for it. Let's put a special commemoration night on, 50-year celebration at Lanky Cats. And we're doing that a week tonight, aren't we, Doug?
We are indeed.
Tell us some more about it. How are we going to do it?
How are we going to do it? Well, we're going to show some snippets. We're going to tell some anecdotes. And, of course, we're hoping to get some members of the groups who were in the film to go along. And, of course, the special guest is the gentleman we've just been referring to. Because coming all the way from Cobham in Surrey,
Yep,
and that's where he lives,
yep.
is none other than Ed Newbrook, the son of Peter Newbrook.
And he's bringing with him some Gonks memorabilia.
Yep.
And I know you've got quite a bit of memorabilia.
I
Doug.
have indeed,
You have.
yes.
And I borrowed it and photocopied some of it, and that'll be on display down at the Lanky Cats at Standish Unity Club next week. And of course, along with Ed, he's bringing a champagne bottle.
Oh,
Yep.
it's getting better.
Clink, clink. Can you
Yeah.
hear the glasses already? And he's going to obviously say a few words to everybody on behalf of his father,
Yeah.
who is really a commemoration to his legacy as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's amazing. I mean, it's very strange because I'm not a film buff at all, and I only have one DVD of a film at home, and that is Lawrence of Arabia.
Really?
And that was without knowing anything about Peter Newbrook at the time.
Yeah.
So, and then, for Ed to suddenly appear is amazing.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be special. And it'll be a joy to meet Ed because his dad was a lovely man. And I've no doubt he'll be the same.
You found it. Your very own hospital radio. Your music, your station. With hits of yesterday and today. Wrightington Hospital Radio.
When you're moving right close to me, down my backbone. I got the shakes down my knee bone. Tremors in my thigh bone. Shaking all over. Quivers down my backbone. I got the shakes in my knee bone. Tremors in my thigh bone. Shaking all over.
Across the wards of Wrightington and Wigan hospitals, playing the best of yesterday and today, 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. This is your station, Wrightington Hospital Radio.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. That was Shooter with Shaking All Over. And again, another high-quality Lancashire band, all open for gigs. Anybody who wants to maybe book some of these bands that you can listen to tonight, you can always get in touch with me at bill@lankybeat.com, and I can put you in touch with the various bands if you wish to book them. Now then, Doug, we've got a couple of minutes left, and that's all. What is a gonk?
Good question. Can't really describe it. It's just a silly little toy, stuffed toy, basically.
It's a doll.
Yeah, sort of. Yes.
With a kind of a wig that goes over.
A funny wig. Yes, yes.
Down on the forehead and across the eyes itself.
Yeah.
And then it's
very strange.
Yeah, a very strange little. But they were all the rage, weren't they?
Yeah, maybe the
fashionable-
Beatles got their haircut idea from it.
Yeah. Was it a kind of Christmas toy of the year or something like that?
I wouldn't guarantee that, but they were certainly around at this
But it was
time.
1965, and gonks were all the rage.
Yeah,
they were
indeed.
And they pitched the idea, didn't they, for the film? And it's no relationship. Gonks Go Beat has no relationship to the film at all, apart from
the mention.
men.
Yep.
Yeah. But gonks, there's hardly a gonk to be seen.
No, on the credits.
On the credits, there's plenty of them.
Yeah.
Now then, Lanky Cats, week tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Thursday, 15th of October, 8 o'clock, 3 bands and 3
and the film clips and as many people were there, and of course Ed Newbrook.
And we'll see you down there. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Doug. Bye-bye.
Wrightington and Wigan hospitals, playing the best of yesterday and today, 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. This is your station, Wrightington Hospital Radio.